Tonight, Marco Musso is granted day parole 4 years into his 10-year sentence.
For the family, all they have now is memories. This was totally wrong today, what happened.
Musso killed 3 children and their grandfather while driving home drunk from his bachelor party back in 2015. Plus,
has been estimated that approximately 35 people may have passed away.
we're learning more about the cost of thousands of medical procedures and surgeries canceled because of the pandemic. And the TDSB is apologizing tonight for keeping quiet after an anonymous letter is sent to Black staff members at a Parkdale school threatening to get rid of them. Good evening, I'm Mike Wise. Marco Musso is still spending his nights in custody, but tomorrow he'll get to experience his first full day of day parole. The drunk driver who killed 3 children and their grandfather was granted day parole today after serving just 4 years of his 10-year sentence. Natalie Nanowski has the details.
A few new toys surrounding 4 wooden crosses that mark the spot in Vaughan where Marco Musso struck a minivan, killing Jennifer Neville Lake's father and her 3 children in 2015. After learning Musso received day parole, the mother, who actively pushed for harsher impaired driving sentences, didn't speak before the cameras today. Instead, she posted a photo of her children's graves on Instagram, writing, "No matter what happened today, Daniel, Harry, and Millie don't get to come back home. My dad isn't coming home to my mom. Nothing changes for me." The head of Mothers Against Drunk Driving says this was a painful day for the family.
All they have now is memories. And he now has a chance to, rehabilitate himself, do something with his life.
Because of COVID-19, the Parole Board of Canada moved all parole hearings online, initially not even allowing victims like Neville Lake to participate. That changed last week, but media still were not allowed to observe the proceedings.
This was totally wrong today, what happened, because it puts an additional burden on the victim to report out to the media and others what happened. That's unfair. We'll continue to campaign that the Parole Board needs to open these up to the media and allow them to do their job, which is reporting on the situation.
Musso addressed today's outcome in a statement, apologizing to the Neville Lake family, saying, "I have ruined their lives. I was careless and irresponsible when I made the choice to drink and drive. There is no way I can undo the damage that I have caused." The board denied Marco Musso full parole and put restrictions on his day parole, which includes no contact with the victims' families and geographical restrictions. More information on exactly what that means is expected to come later. Natalie Nanowski, CBC News, Toronto.
There's been an outbreak of COVID-19 at a city-run daycare. 3 staff members have tested positive for the virus at the Jesse Ketchum Early Learning and Childcare Center. It's been open during the pandemic, to care for the children of frontline workers. Now, in addition to the 3 positive cases, 2 more staff and 2 children are awaiting test results. The center says it is suspending services for 14 days and will undergo a deep cleaning and will reopen at the advice of public health. Well, we're learning more tonight about a ripple effect of a decision made to help ensure hospitals could cope with the surge of COVID-19 patients. Last month, the province started canceling elective surgeries in an effort to free up space in hospitals. Tens of thousands of procedures were pushed back, and that's raising concerns about the health of those left waiting. Lisa Shing has more.
This year, we've discovered that there is a new nodule on my thyroid.
Discovered during a routine ultrasound she gets every year, that nodule on Melody Sears' thyroid had shown early signs of cancer. A biopsy was scheduled for late March, but it got canceled the day before.
It's the not knowing. It's always something that I'm thinking about. I just had a call with my family doctor this morning, and I told him, I said, I'm scared. It's been 4 months since I know about this, and what if it's growing? Like, what am I going to do?
Sears biopsy is one of more than 52,000 surgeries or procedures that have been postponed because of COVID-19. 12,000 more are delayed every week the pandemic continues, according to the province's Financial Accountability Office, or FAO.
So there may be a quality of life issue, but certainly in the case of cancer patients, these are life and death issues. And the longer these surgeries are not performed, in most cases, patients' health gets worse.
And that's why the province has said it's prioritizing cardiac and cancer surgeries once the province starts to reopen. The health minister referenced a report from the University Health Network. Its modeling showed 35 people could have died waiting for heart surgery.
There may be some people who die because of cardiac or cancer deaths, but we also saved thousands of lives by moving as quickly as we did.
By postponing elective surgeries, the FAO found almost 7,000 acute care and 600 critical care beds with ventilators were freed up. Now that the province is looking at opening up, what could that look like for surgeries?
This will not just be going back to the way we used to do it. How do we minimize the or sort of maximize the safety for the people who are doing the procedures, who are putting the patients to sleep, who are caring for them after the surgeries, and also maximize the safety for the patient themselves.
That means health officials will have to make sure there's enough personal protective equipment, ventilators, and staff to perform those elective surgeries and be prepared in case there's a spike in COVID-19 cases. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.
Premier Ford said today it is still too soon to make a decision on what's going to happen with the rest of the school year. This comes after Quebec announced plans yesterday to reopen elementary schools.
No one wants to put our children in harm's way, and I'm just not willing to chance it. Let's wait until the end of May, and then we'll make that determination if we're going to continue on for a few weeks going back to school, or if we're just going to scrap the rest of the school year.
The education minister announced this week that schools will remain closed until at least May 31st. Sick Kids Hospital has declared an outbreak of COVID-19 after they confirmed over the weekend a teenage patient there tested positive for the virus. Now, since then, the teen's parents, as well as a clinical team member, have also tested positive, along with another patient, who isn't connected to that first case. The hospital says it is investigating how the virus was transmitted. And it looks like paramedics will be getting a pandemic-related pay bump after all. Over the weekend, the province announced a $4 per hour premium for workers on the front lines, but there were notable absences on the list, including paramedics and respiratory therapists. Well, today, the union representing paramedics issued a statement applauding the government for, quote, listening and moving the yardsticks. Well, a Toronto doctor is speaking out tonight, claiming he was told he couldn't get into his local TD Canada Trust Bank branch because he's a healthcare worker. Talia Ricci now with the exclusive details of what happened and what the bank is now saying about it.
They've been hailed as heroes and angels through signs and celebrations. But one doctor says he doesn't feel that way after a recent experience with this bank.
I consider it a slap in the face.
Dr. Coleman Rothstein says after his daughter was asked by a security guard at this TD Bank branch on Avenue Road whether she was a healthcare worker, he made some calls.
I asked if I could speak to the bank manager. I identified myself. I said I was a healthcare worker. And she told me healthcare workers are not allowed into this branch.
TD Bank says all clients going into the branches are being asked if they feel ill, have recently traveled, or been exposed to COVID-19. TD also says they recently launched a virtual branch hub for healthcare workers. Meanwhile, Royal Bank says healthcare workers are welcome to access branches as long as they're wearing PPE while treating patients with COVID-19. BMO, CIBC, and Scotiabank said healthcare workers can visit any open branch. All of the major banks also said they're encouraging clients to access services online and over the phone as much as possible right now. We spoke with a business ethics expert who says this is a challenge that many companies are facing.
It's emblematic of the way businesses today are struggling with having to balance the safety of their employees and the desire to serve customers. Job title is actually a very bad proxy for risk because lots of healthcare professionals, of course, aren't working anywhere near COVID-19.
TD Bank said it would share Rothstein's feedback with its staff.
Their symbol is an easy chair, correct? That's not banking made easy.
Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
The Toronto District School Board is apologizing for not doing more to address what it says was clearly an incident of anti-Black racism. It comes after an anonymous letter surfaced naming a group of Black staff members at a Parkdale elementary school, taunting one of them and threatening to get rid of others. Lorenda Redekop has that story.
No one is at this school these days, but parents are learning about a troubling incident involving racism from before COVID-19.
It was absolutely appalling. The reaction from every parent that saw it was a combination of heartbreak, sadness, anger, disbelief that this would be happening in our community.
A Black parents group from the school tweeted what it says was a letter sent to a Black administrator who was leaving the school. It reads, "I'm glad you bought my sorrowful goodbye to you in December. Really, I was thinking, ding dong, the witch is gone. I'm so happy to see you gone. You and your little crew that make everything about Black this and Black that. So what, white people don't count?" It also reads, "Now I got rid of you. Just a few more on the list to go." The Toronto District School Board wrote to parents yesterday. It calls a letter naming a number of Black staff members clearly an incident of anti-Black racism. While we have made attempts to support these staff members directly involved, we know that we could have done more. For that, we apologize. The TDSB says it doesn't know who wrote or sent the letter. Parents say, given the details in it, they're worried whoever wrote it may have been a staff member.
The safety concern is the students. We've put our students at risk by having a racist person on staff at this school who is actively interacting with them, with teachers, and with us as well.
The TDSB says it doesn't know who wrote or sent the letter. Parents say, given the details in it, they're worried whoever wrote it may have been a staff member. The school board says multiple investigations are ongoing with the Toronto Police Service involved. And it says the principal will be on leave while these investigations are being conducted. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, I'll say that the weather pattern for the next few days kind of takes some patience because we have a slow mover that's making its way through. Gray skies, rain, and some strong winds as well. I'm meteorologist Colette Kennedy, and yes, we'll have to deal with that, but it's going to pay off. I'll also have that lovely weekend forecast coming up.
Time now to check in on the forecast with meteorologist Colette Kennedy. And we've got some midweek showers to deal with, Colette.
Yeah, we do, Mike. We're going to see the system moving through, and it's kind of pokey in nature. It's really going to take its time working its way through southern and eastern Ontario and leaving behind cloud cover, rain, and some breezy conditions too. So the next few days we are going to find the skies maybe a little bit gloomy. Those winds out of the east-southeast will be picking up tomorrow, and some of those gusts exceeding 50 kilometers an hour. But this is something to look forward to, that we are going to see clearing. It's finally going to nose its way out of here by the time the weekend comes around, and we'll see some milder temperatures as well. So I'll just sort of explain how it's going to be working here. So although there are some scattered showers, that risk is there tonight. There's not much moisture to work with, even into the early part of the day tomorrow. So cloud cover will be there, and we'll see a few showers. But it's later Wednesday night as we go overnight towards Thursday. It fills in with a little more significant rain in terms of the intensity and how much we'll be seeing. Then into Thursday, at times there'll be breaks, not necessarily in the cloud cover, but breaks in the precipitation, and then some showers coming back in and rotating right back in. With those areas of low pressure, we get counterclockwise circulation. It just keeps bringing that moisture towards us. So as we go through the days, Wednesday, Thursday, and even with some instability into Friday, although things will improve and we'll start to get some sun mixing in there with the cloud cover and the showers, we'll be seeing the amounts of rain. It will be, you can see how varied it is. Like around London could be over 30 millimeters, towards Kitchener a little less than 20. So there'll be a few areas where it's enhanced. Where there's really going to be significant rain is going to be into northeastern Ontario. And again, it's such a slow mover that that's part of the reason. But for the Toronto area, it's more like 20 to maybe 30 millimeters we'll see all told as this system moves through and provides some form of showers or rain Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday. For Leamington, 12 degrees, your overnight low, very mild overnight lows as well because of some of this cloud cover and some of the moisture in the air here. Windsor, 12 degrees, 11 for you there in Sarnia. A look at tomorrow afternoon. What a change from today with some of that sunshine, some of those beautiful temperatures in the upper teens. It's going to feel cooler than that, though, because those winds will be quite strong. Tomorrow, though, shifting more towards the south, that will help somewhat, but in the flood-prone areas, not going to be a good thing clearly there. Overnight for the GTA, these are the readings from 6 to 8 degrees for those overnight lows. And then for the daytime highs tomorrow, also cooler than today, plus with an east to at times southeasterly breeze, that's not going to feel all that warm either. So this is how long it sticks around the next 3 days. But if we bump this forward and take you to the 5-day forecast, you can see what's coming for the weekend. Some nice temperatures and some sunshine, Mike.
Wow, looking forward to it. Thanks, Colette.
Thank you.
The weather update is brought to you by Trane, the most reliable heating and cooling brand. We test, so it runs. Take advantage of special offers now. It's hard to stop a Trane.
Ontario's tourism sector is taking a major hit from the COVID-19 shutdowns, with no clear timeline on when borders or businesses will open. New numbers provided to CBC News show many attractions could be forced to shut their doors for good. Lauren Pelly brings us this exclusive story.
We've lost millions and millions of dollars.
Casa Loma has been shut down for the last 6 weeks, putting all programming and events on hold. The iconic castle's operator says spring would normally be a busy season.
It's been devastating. Obviously, you know, it's our whole business is closed. We have zero income at Casa Loma.
Other Toronto tourist sites remain shuttered as well, including big downtown draws like the Rogers Centre and CN Tower.
The $10 billion a year in economic activity we would normally see from visitor spending is shut off right now.
It's not just tourist attractions in Toronto that are being hit hard by COVID-19. Across the province, businesses are struggling to survive. New survey results provided to CBC Toronto show 60% of Ontario tourism businesses are temporarily closed, and 16% say they're at risk of shutting down for good.
The industry may not look like it used to when we come out of this.
With no clear endpoint for COVID-19 restrictions, the curtain has already closed on the upcoming Stratford Festival and the Mirvish Theatre season in Toronto. Over in Ottawa, the annual Summer Blues Fest is cancelled as well. In many cases, government subsidies and rent assistance are helping, but close to a quarter of survey respondents say they don't qualify. Some tourist sites are even turning to fundraising.
We were amazed when we've raised over $500,000.
For the company operating Casa Loma, staying afloat means offering new takeout options at the on-site restaurant. The team also tries to keep in mind that closing down is for a good cause.
It's the right thing to do because safety and health comes before the financial success.
Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
I thought, how do I reach out to Blue Jay fans now that there's no baseball?
Well, he used to call balls and strikes. Now he's called almost 1,000 Blue Jays fans just to say hi. More on why Jamie Campbell is spending his quarantine time on the phone. Yes? That's next.
Good afternoon, it's Jamie Campbell, the host of Blue Jays.
The CFL says it needs financial help. The league is asking the federal government for up to $150 million due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It's already postponed training camps and pushed back the start of its regular season. It's hoping for an initial $30 million to deal with that abbreviated regular season with much fewer fans in the stands, but up to $120 million if it has to cancel its entire 2020 season. And there are reports Major League Baseball is looking at restarting play sometime between mid-June to early July. The games would be televised from mostly empty ballparks, starting in a limited number of locations, but expanding when viable. If the league goes ahead with a 100-game season, the World Series might not be played until early December. And if the baseball season were normal tonight, I'd be reporting on the score of a Red Sox-Blue Jays game. And longtime Jays baseball host Jamie Campbell would be making his way home from the Dome. Instead, these days, he's doing what he can to stay connected with baseball fans by calling them out of the blue just to chat. Greg Ross was there today as Campbell worked the phone.
Hello?
Kathy?
Yes?
Good afternoon. It's Jamie Campbell, the host of Blue Jays Baseball on Sportsnet.
Hello, Jamie Campbell. How are you?
If you're a Blue Jays fan, it's quite possible you could also be receiving a phone call like this one from the host of Blue Jays Baseball on Rogers Sportsnet.
I thought, how do I reach out to Blue Jay fans now that there's no baseball?
Jamie Campbell says the idea came to him about 5 weeks ago, not long after learning the start of Major League Baseball was going to be delayed because of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thought I'd call and see how you're doing without any baseball to watch.
That kind of sucks.
He now makes calls just about every day to Blue Jays fans all over the country.
I've learned every area code in Canada by heart.
He says he's already made close to 1,000 calls.
I've got the book here. I logged them all. It's my son's reading book from public school. And every name that is listed that you see there, I have called.
And while he never rushes anyone off the phone, he admits some calls last longer than others.
Sometimes it's so disbelieving that they don't actually believe who I'm identifying myself as being, and they think it's a telemarketer. So I've been hung up on.
Those who do stay on the line usually want to talk baseball, like Larry Hunt from Kitchener, who spoke with Campbell for nearly half an hour.
Is it kind of neat that you could swap stories with somebody who actually covers the team?
That was amazing, and we had some great stories, and it was just a tremendous interaction, and it went on for some time.
Was it strange to hear that voice coming through your phone instead of your television?
It was strange, but you know what? It was really nice because, Jamie, we miss you this year.
Aww.
We don't just miss the Blue Jays, we miss you.
Campbell says aside from the fact that he has a lot of extra time on his hands these days, his reason for doing it is because it's the kind of thing people need right now.
This is me caring and me wanting to know how they're doing. And most people are ready and willing and in need of a good conversation, so that's where it all begins.
Greg Ross, CBC News, Toronto.
But why the Expos hat? Well, that's our newscast for tonight. Tomorrow on The Current, many sports fans have been filling their thirst for content by watching The Last Dance on Netflix. It's that fascinating documentary that gives an inside look at the Chicago Bulls and their final year of their destiny. The Current will look at why that is striking such a chord with fans. That's on CBC Radio tomorrow morning. I'll see you back here tomorrow night at 11. Good night.